Good morning. It is November 6th, 2025, and we are on the march again. On my way to work this windy fall day, about 44 degrees. And let's have a noteworthy conversation here. And there's a couple things on my mind I'd like to start out with. And one, the importance that we start taking up the calling for this nation's destiny much more seriously. The calling this nation has is a very serious one. We've been all adopted into it, and unfortunately we've been tossed to and fro by the flooding of ideas into our nation, many of which trying to tell us that we were wrong, capitalism was wrong, the founders were evil, our foundation is evil. And so I'm very quickly here going to call everyone to really rejoice in the beauty of our nation, rejoice in the beauty of our founding, our freedoms, our equality, and begin taking up your calling. And our calling is a story that we must continue to participate in, a story we must nurture, a story we must all do our part in. We've been adopted into it, and we don't have a choice. We can participate in many ways. And one of the ways I want to encourage all is through the art of writing. Writing is such a beautiful thing. It's such a wonderful way to keep us based in hope and coming to understand our reality. It's a way to bring us creativity, and through creativity we come to see structure and the importance of cleanliness, and how we slowly begin to become washed by cleanliness. That is what the founding fathers were teaching us, slowly coming to see themselves through, the writing of the Declaration of Independence, Constitutional Convention, the amount of time and effort that went into writing these documents, the thought that went into writing these documents. And these words that were written are written into history. They are written into the cornerstone of this civilization, and really perhaps even Western civilization now, as many countries admire, sometimes mimic, and sometimes even wonder if we're going to continue on. But they still wonder how these mighty words, these ideals are still standing strong, how Lady Liberty still has not yet been toppled. And that is because these words are living, inscribed into the quite literally divine history book of freedom and equality. And so when we wrote these ideas, we thought of the freedoms and how we can have our form of self-governance. We didn't write these from a deterministic standpoint. They came in, we're like, hey, these are these ideas because we want freedom. But we quite yet don't really know what freedom is, because freedom is a calling. And it's something, we are at one edge of this calling. And now it is up to us, this generation, this time period that we're in, to take up that calling again, and in a way have another constitutional convention. Not to change the Constitution, not to rethink our ideas in any way, but to come to see our origin story and truly see the beauty of what our founders did and what they wrote. And now we should see that. How should I say this, or how do I want to say it? I'm still early in the morning, but I guess I'll say this. We want to all, as individuals, continue this story on in this beautiful nation so that we can all fulfill our calling, participate in the story of America. And when we all participate in America through our First Amendment right, predominantly creative expression, and leads to participation, our nation grows, our destiny grows larger, grows bigger, grows brighter. Sacred flame of liberty burns brighter, gains more fuel. The bark of liberty, that rudder, continues to turn about upstream even more directly. The sails drop and we charge on forth. And while there may be other ships in the harbor that weren't built like ours, yelling from the shore, mocking us, mimicking us, stealing our ideas, and then running away with them, looking for attention from their mommies, we're going to charge on, and no letter of surrender will detract us, will discourage us, will convince us in any way to stop with the direction that we're moving, stop fulfilling the calling, we will not stop with the action of continuing the story and writing our own story. So as the general in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II said to the German commander when, I believe, asked to surrender, he said, "Nuts." I can't remember if there's actually more to it or not, but that kind of sums it up, and they carried on, and that's what we're going to do. Everyone's waiting for us to capitulate, waiting us to have our ideas submit to another idea, but it will not. Our story is too strong, our story is too bright, and all Americans at this time should really begin to embrace their calling, embrace the beauty of this nation, participate daily in your freedoms. We've all been adopted into it together, so let's nurture and strengthen this cornerstone once again. Let's walk to the edge of our memory, the edge of our understanding, our freedoms. Once again, see the beauty of what was written on those founding documents: the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the amount of energy and time, thought, sacrifice that went into these documents, and then to carry on with them, to continue fighting for them, to continue testing them through dialogue, testing them through the courts, testing them through amendments, and just seeing how we as citizens carry these. Do we carry them with honor and continue on the legacy, participating in these freedoms, in these ideas, so that we can write our own story alongside, walking to the edge of freedom, strengthening others? Or are we abusing these freedoms, these ideas, and using them for our own gain, our own glory? Because if so, that does not help our story. It does not help us move forward. That puts holes in our ship. And when someone puts a hole in your ship, sometimes you just got to make a bigger hole. But next topic, I think, listen to some news, and the Supreme Court is discussing Trump's tariffs. And now again, I'm not an expert on economics and don't have all the research in front of me, but just through daily participation in the economy on, really the past almost 20 years now, it's hard for me to say that tariffs are a bad thing. Now, we can argue how he's going about the tariffs. We can argue about the percentage of increase. It seems a bit steep, perhaps. But what Trump is doing, he's doing his part in not only writing his story, but making sure that that the American story, our origin story, gets to continue on. But we all get to write our story, and we get to see the freedoms of this nation, and perhaps some of their purest form we've seen in a long time. And so while the tariffs may have various economic consequences, for me so far it's hard for me to disagree with the tariffs. I disagree with the steepness and perhaps using them as leverage in negotiating, but that's just his style, and that seems to be working to a certain degree. There are a lot of mechanisms that go into the cost of living. You know, some of the costs that people aren't paying attention to is the people that are in control of our ports. I mean, just literally had a strike, I think almost like a year ago, of a man who's in control of the ports and wanting more money for him and his men, apparently, so that they could afford to live. So now we have a issue because we have one man who is stepping in front of Congress, controlling the flow of goods in and out of the country, who is taxing America without any form of representation by the people, and he's doing it with absolute force, far more force than President Trump has ever done. And so I would advocate that we need to look at how goods are flowing in and out of the country and find a way to make it more efficient. And I think if we did that, we could probably see a drastic reduction in prices. Second, we need to make sure that jobs are equally being provided and made available for all citizens of the United States, instead, so that we do not have one group that's being forced into college and universities, paying a massive amount of money, and then just competing in the corporate ladder, which just causes prices to go up even more. Humility is a beautiful thing, and this nation is great at humility. Just look at our infrastructure, look at our designing of our homes, our cities, our communities, all beautiful, all based in humility. The concept of humility, it's really like an art form, because it leads to beauty. And when we try to make everything sophisticated, we literally leave things start to fall apart, basically. So simplicity is beautiful, simple infrastructure is beautiful, designed in a way for participation, healthy living, and that is what we need, and that's kind of the economy that we need. And that is why we need to start looking at every aspect of the economy and how we can make it more productive, make it more efficient, and make it more equal, so that we do not have certain individuals, such as this unionized port guy, who can control the flow of goods, control the cost of these goods in and out of the country, which I think is unconstitutional. Because Congress is really the sole authority in regulating the flow of goods in and out of the country, across state borders, I believe. I'm not a constitutional expert, but they do have a large role in regulating commerce. And now we have one guy doing it, and there's examples all over the country like this. And so that is why we need to bring down these barriers, this, what I like to call this unionized mindset of power and control, so that we can have more creative expression, less competition, and more business growth, more entrepreneurial spirit, more entrepreneurial growth through our communities, and that will lead to more participation in society. It will also lead to, I believe, better infrastructure, better public transit, because you won't have people rushing off to buy useless degrees. You may not have people rushing off to just find a job that's most suitable for them, that fits their idea of what they're worth of. Instead they just go out and get a job right around the corner. And if we did that in masses, instead of running off to college or running off and playing all these useless sports and in these useless subsidized sports stadiums, our infrastructure would change overnight. More walking, biking, maybe more access to maybe public-private transportation. Maybe these automated Tesla cars, which I'm not really a huge fan of all these Ubers and Lyfts and Tesla cars, and unless they're going to drastically reduce the cost of transporting people, then I think they're more of a burden to the growth of society and the economy than anything else. So these ideas of, which are great, Uber, Lyft, and even air taxis coming now, there needs to be a very real and serious reduction in the cost of transporting people if we are going to see any real progress in society and our economy. Otherwise, people are just going to continue to just buy cars to drive to a job that they believe is better for them other than the job around the corner. The corporate world, people want to blame the corporate world, the corporate bosses for bonuses and all that stuff, but there's a lot of 401k millionaires, and if I would have been smarter, I would have spent more time working, less time in school. I kind of paid my way. I didn't live on campus, went to a community college, then I went to a SUNY school, local SUNY school, and I just I worked, got involved in my community, which was all good, but I wish I would have just been putting more money into my 401k, because I probably would have been close to a millionaire by now. So the 401ks are beautiful, and why everyone is just running away from work, running away from financial success, from the opportunities that are out there being provided by the free market and corporate world and wealth creators is just beyond me. And this is all the result of the unionized mindset that corporations are evil because the bosses get paid too much, and so we need to have a union where the union master gets paid a whole bunch of money, gets to live in a beautiful home, such as that guy that closed all the ports gets to have a yacht, beautiful home, and everybody else gets to live like peasants for his own glory. So unions don't do anything for society. They don't do anything for the people. They don't do anything for communities. They just wait for opportunities to take advantage of people, basically, and then they manipulate and deceive people into thinking that they need them for more money to make their life beautiful, make their life better, at the expense of the corporation, which is already providing jobs, already providing benefits, already involved in the community, trying to invest in local communities, and then a local union comes by and just completely demolishes all that wealth creation. It takes away all that investment into communities. And so we need to really rethink how we go about participating in society. And I want to see the unionized mindset, which is also a form of social democracy, completely removed. It is not written in our Constitution. It's not written in the Declaration of Independence. Not written in anywhere in our amendments, Bill of Rights. The Pilgrims did not come here for social democracy. They came here to literally be at the edge of their existence, the edge of their understanding of freedom, the edge of understanding their religion, and how they can go about begin sowing the seeds of hope for a better world for the future. And that is exactly what they did. And so unionized type mindset, social democracy mindset does not do this. It isolates, it divides, and then basically preys on the weak, preys on those who do not understand, and then anybody that is strong, anybody that's competent, that could stand up against them, they just basically attack and push them away, which is what the recent social democratic mayor of New York City did in his speech when he basically spoke out against Trump. He just basically, is basically jealous. He's intimidated by Trump. He knows Trump's a far better man than he could ever possibly be, a better politician, and so he's just he's now in a position that he cannot handle. He cannot lead. He has brought forth all these ideas, and yet still has not come up with a way of funding all these programs. And he just keeps coming up with all these ideas, walking away from problem solving, walking away from unity, walking away from the proposition that all men are created equal, walking away from our founding, our origin story, which is most likely intentional, to try to erase it, undermine it, because he knows he can't deliver, he knows he can't lead, and he knows he can't match the true American might, the true American spirit. And we as Americans need to understand our calling, take part in our freedoms on a daily basis, stand on that proposition that all men are created equal. It's our cornerstone, it's our castle, it's our armament, it's the fullness of America. And participate daily. Participation is beautiful. It's what America is. That's what creative capitalism, and I just had a video on this. Creative capitalism is beautiful, so go forth and try to check it out, maybe. Creative capitalism is beautiful, and that's what we need. So capitalism is, like I said in that video, obviously there's a definition, allocation of resources, and yada yada yada. But truly what it is, capitalism is the result of participation, both labor, those in need of employment, need of wanting to provide, and then also those who want to buy and sell and just participate, whether it's a bookstore or it's buying steel or lumber, they want to participate or they want to buy. So some buy like lumber and steel for buildings, and some go to the bookstore to maybe socialize and also maybe buy a book. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and that's what capitalism is really truly about. It cultivates a society of inclusiveness, openness, participation, and that is where true prosperity comes from, because then there is the free exchange of goods, the free exchange of money, ideas, laughter, conversation, and that is how we come to, in this day and age, really see the edge of our knowing, the edge of our understanding, and we need more of it. And I'm actually at the bridge to Camelot this morning, so I'm going to shoot a quick video for my YouTube. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to pause right here. Alrighty, a great video that I just shot on the bridge to Camelot. I also call it Unity Bridge, Compromise Bridge, which is really what this nation and our freedoms are about. Coming together, open dialogue, conversing, solving problems, compromise. And when we have people that step in front of that, interfere with that, we no longer are fulfilling our calling, and we are no longer swimming upstream, but we are being pulled back into the harbor of this fictional story of safety. But we must continue to charge forward. Stay away from the harbor, sail out to sea, participate with the monsters, participate with the storms, because they don't really exist. We don't know their names. We don't know their image. The only story, name, and image we know is the American one. And all those who come to love, be loyal, and participate in this beautiful American image, beautiful American story. We do not know anything that attempts to come across it. We don't know its name, its image. It does not exist. Now take up your pen, your paper, your notebook, begin writing. Begin writing down the proposition that all men are created equal. What does that mean? First Amendment right. What does that mean, and how can I strengthen that, glorify that idea in me deeper? How can I help others come to better know their First Amendment right? How can I strengthen them? How can I rapture them up to better know these ideas? How can I speak in a more edifying tone, language, with more edifying words that cultivate a mindset of wonder, imagination of what we can be, of what the possibilities of the future are when we remain devoted and committed to our calling, the destiny of this nation. If I write down the hope of a better future, how can I remain based in that hope? How can I remain based in that reality of hope? Just some ideas for those. Go forth and let's reimagine our constitutional convention all across the nation. Everyone taking up their pen, their notebook, writing these things down. How can I be a better American? How can I be stronger for the American story, the origin story of America? How can I be a better leader in this story? How can I have my name written in the storybooks, history books, the legacy of America? What can I do to strengthen this country, and what can I do to stand up against all that is trying to come against us? And the best thing that you can do is just stand on the mighty propositional rock that all men are created equal. Exercise your First Amendment right daily by participating in society, participating in the economy, staying away from all the vain materialistic hedonism. Strengthen the economy, believe in the economy, believe in your government and our beautiful and mighty flag and our beautiful history, knowing that our history is right, our government is right, our story is pure, and that there is nothing that can come against it. For the American spirit is mighty, it's strong, it's ambitious, and it does not like it when it is treaded on, when people throw little ideas at us of fear, that we must then combat with. And we combat with the mighty pen of just writing things down, exercising our thoughts, building our mind, and bringing the American story, the American experience into our mind, alive in our mind, so that it's basically glorified in us and our habitation. Our habitation grows, shines brighter, and we carry this message of hope, strength, courage wherever we go, as we participate in America, our society, participate in the economy, participate in our governments, our self-governance, and we just ignore all the lesser words of self-exaltation that attempt to conquer us. We just ignore them, and we walk away from them because they don't exist, and they do not participate, nor will they ever participate in the American story, the origin story of America. They have no future, for there is no potential in these lesser words of self-exaltation, because they are filled with fear. They are filled with intimidation, provocation. They are filled with no problem solving, no compromise, no unity. So therefore we will glorify our mind and our bodies with all that America is: compromise, unity, inclusiveness, participation. Write these things down. Write down the First Amendment right. Write down the proposition that all men are created equal, like I said, and expand on them. Come to know them. Walk in them daily. so that when these lesser words of self-exaltation are fired at us, they do not bother us. We remain based in the reality of America, remain based in hope, courage. We walk away from them, I guess you say, turn the other cheek, and we just let the mighty American spirit, these mighty ideals, and the heavy, burdensome weight that they are, deal with all that is thrown at this nation. Those who truly believe in inclusiveness, open society, compromise, unity, everything I've been saying, the burden of this mighty rock is very light. It's beautiful. It's your cornerstone. It's your armament. It's your body armor. It's the fullness of America that we walk in. It's our shield. But if you truly do not believe in it, then nothing but fiery darts will come forth. So that's why I call upon all Americans to just, once again, take up your pen and paper, write the beauty of American story, write your own story of what you may want to accomplish in this American story, how you may want to participate in it, how you may want to leave an image, leave a story, leave a fingerprint behind in the history books of our story. Turn away from all the fiery darts and just strengthen your shield. Put on the fullness of America, as I said, and we'll just let the American spirit, the self-governance, the free market, creative capitalism, our equality, inclusiveness, open society, voting, take care of anyone that is trying to bring about a different story, to dismantle what we believe in. And, well, let's see what we can move on to in this podcast here. Approaching, we're past 30 minutes, so I know I do a lot of repetition, a lot of repeating, and sometimes some rambling, but it's important that these ideas are really filled in us, glorified in us, and we understand that when it comes to the fiery darts of those who want to dismantle our story, distract us, provoke us, intimidate us, we just ignore them. They don't exist, and we just go on with our story, our American story. Turn the other cheek, I guess you can say, and then participate in the beauty of America. And if we do that, then the fiery darts do not strike us, and they don't even come near us. So let's focus on that. That's truly who we are as a people. Alrighty, so I think I'll probably end it here. It was a good rambling today, and I do hope that all take to heart the importance of this nation's origin story, the founding words of this nation, the living words of this nation, the living ideas on freedom and equality, inclusiveness, and open society. Take it seriously. Write these down. Come to know them. Strengthen them in your minds. Glorify them in your body, and become a beacon of hope, courage, confidence, and participate in society through these living kingdoms of ideas, and strengthen others around you. And let's see the beautiful American spirit work and turn about this nation unto the prosperous calling that it has been called to fulfill.